Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. Well, I just want you guys to know that Finn is feeling much better. I'm still making rice for him. Now, the vet told me, okay, first of all, he hasn't pooped since we gave him the medicine to stop the poop. And I'm well aware of what could happen once the poop restarts. We're waiting patiently. But he is eating rice with the chicken. Now, she told me to go ahead and start putting a little bit of that food back in, and I did put it down, and Finn wasn't the least bit interested in it. But as you can see from the pictures that I took as we were driving down the road with him in the back seat, of course, my older son sat next to him. His eyes are bright. He is spry. He's feeling better. And for those who didn't notice the tag, can you guys read it? Let me zoom in. Yep, call my mom. She's crying. Please believe me, if anything changes in his condition, you guys will be notified immediately. But right now, he seems to be stable. And to the person who wrote Finn, not the pup that he was born as, but the dog that he has become, I love it. Spot on. All right, I want to do a quick update also on this whole PayPal thing. Apparently, there was a misinformation policy where they said if you were spreading misinformation, it could cost you $2,500. Okay, now I did see that on Twitter. Now, because of the backlash, they removed the line where it said that the misinformation could cost you the fine. Apparently, that line was posted in error. A spokesman said, no, that they're not fining people for misinformation, and that language should never have been inserted into the policy. However, a $2,500 penalty for violation stays, okay? And the PayPal website still says providing false, inaccurate, or misleading information under the restricted activities portion of its policy. So people are like, you know, you took it out of one section, but it's still there in another section. That's in the restricted activities section, okay? Now, that doesn't get you an automatic fine, but it's still $2,500 fine. So people are still wondering what the heck is going on. And because of all of this, people are deleting their PayPal accounts. Now, here's the interesting part. I thought, okay, I won't use PayPal. Maybe I'll use Venmo. I did not realize that Venmo was owned by, ta-da, PayPal. So if I'm not using PayPal and I'm not using Venmo, like the coffee fund money that you guys put in, then how does that happen? And then you should know that they can't reach into your bank account and take $2,500. They can only take what's in your PayPal. So for me, because I use it for coffee fund, and there's usually, $5 here and $5 there, they wouldn't get any money from me. However, this whole thing has made me very leery, and I'm starting to look at options for PayPal. If anybody has any ideas, please let me know. Now, I did write to PayPal. I showed you the email, and here it is. And they're saying, we're aware, it's not true, we're not fining people for misinformation. But actually, the wordage, while it's been moved, the wordage is still there. So, yeah, now I'm worried. All right, let's move on. All right, we are starting off this morning with Prince Edward, the Earl of Wessex, who has now become the patron for the Reading Rep. And he said that he looks forward to helping with reinforcing the theater's inspiring work in the local community and supporting its future endeavors. We know how much he likes the theater. He was very involved in theater when he was younger. This is perfect for him. I'm still waiting for his dukedom. Charles needs to come along and hand it over. Duke of Edinburgh. Let's go, Charles. Move it along. All right, I had to throw this in here. Roland Moray, I hope I'm saying that right, saying that he is designing his latest collection of clothing with the Princess of Wales in mind. Because of the way she doesn't stand behind William, she stands beside him, and also not in front. Next up, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, put out a very important message. And one of the first things she says is, nobody chooses to become an addict. And people that are trapped in addiction need our kindness and understanding. Now remember, this is something that she has been doing for like 15 years. This is not something she just started. I found her message to be wonderful. Way to go, princess. She always knows exactly what to say, including this one. Addiction was not a choice, but recovery is possible. Go for it. Love it. Next up, we know that Charles is not going to the COP27, which is the climate change conference. It's being held in Egypt this year. Apparently, there were some concerns about the way women there are being treated, so he's not going. Neither is his prime minister, I might add. So if the king can't go to the mountain's coming to Buckingham Palace. That's right. The king is going to hold his own reception at Buckingham Palace about this exact climate change item. They're going to discuss practical measures to help with climate change. Hopefully they'll take the things that he says and they'll take it back to the summit since he's not going to be going. Now, Miss Thunberg, we all know who this girl is, who was out hawking her new book. They asked her, what do you think about the fact that he's not going, that the new prime minister, Rishi Sunak, is not going to be there? What do you think? And she said, well, it's difficult to talk about these individual decisions because they have many different factors. But the fact that among one of the most powerful people in the world doesn't have time for this is symbolic, and that they may have other priorities. So she's absolutely right. There are other priorities. So they asked Mr. Sunak in an interview a couple of very interesting questions. Here's what he had to say. Listen to this.
Why do you think it's more important for you to stay here and supervise the work of the Chancellor rather than going to COP27?
Well, look, I'm really proud, as everyone should be, about our record on tackling climate change, and particularly with regard to COP. I think everyone will remember that last year we hosted one of the most significant COPs in recent time, and that was important because what we did there was set the targets and the roadmap for the world to follow if we're going to meet our climate ambitions. And I think actually everyone should also be really proud of how we're doing. We're one of the countries that has decarbonised the fastest. We now get over half our energy from zero carbon sources. We passed a landmark law to protect the environment. And under my government, we're going to continue to deliver on all of those things.
Labour say it's a massive failure of leadership.
No, the leadership that we have shown on the climate is unmatched almost along the world. If you look at what we've done in this country, we're an example for others to follow at the pace in which we've reduced climate emissions, how we're going about protecting our environment, and those things are really important to me. It's important to me that as Prime Minister we leave behind an environment that is better for our children and grandchildren. I'm very passionate about that. I'm very personally committed to it, and I just think at the moment it's right that I'm also focusing on the depressing domestic challenges we have with the economy, and I think that's what people watching would reasonably expect me to be doing as well.
Now he's saying that he could attend if he makes substantial progress on the budget. And of course, hearing that Boris Johnson might be going as well had nothing to do with it, I'm sure. Moving on. All right, thank you to Megan Small for this. We already know that Megan is charging $5,000 for a table of 10 to go and listen to her talk in Indianapolis, an evening with Meghan Markle. I'd rather sit and listen to nails down a chalkboard myself, but apparently it's being touted now that you can take a picture with her for an extra fee. I'm sure that extra fee goes right into Megan's pocket, and apparently she's also going to be hawking Harry's book. Oh my God. And I also agree with what Megan wrote here. Farm to table are struggling to afford those Sizzler salads because literally every time Meghan Markle opens her mouth, a different story of her childhood comes out. On the TIG, it's all about what a wonderful father and their weekly nights out for steak and the vacations and the tap dancing. And then she puts out a letter where they were struggling to afford the all-you-can-eat Sizzler salad bar. Remember that one? She also said she was a latchkey kid, which has also been proven to not be true. I'm telling you. But the farm to table, remember, she was a poor latchkey kid who barely survived on salads. But this is what she said. Thank you to Megan Small for finding this. Watch this.
This dish reminded me of the kind of food that I grew up eating in California, like that real sort of farm to table, fresh, really simple ingredients.
Here's where she gave an interview to Marie Claire in 2013. I grew up with the farm-to-table dining before it was sweeping the nation. Right, but then she said in another interview that they could barely get by on the Sizzler salad bar. All right, this was sent to me by one of my subscribers, Lena. Lena, thank you very much. This is absolutely perfect. The spare and the scare. Because now we're going to be talking about the book. That's why I'm starting with this. So let's go. All right, we know how much Harry and Meghan love their privacy. Leave us alone. You only get to know what we want you to know. You know, blah, blah, blah. We've all seen it. We all know what's going on. So could you imagine that he went to Cressida Bona, who he dated for how many years? And he went to Chelsea, who's married with a new baby, and asked them to talk about him to the ghostwriter. Yes, he asked them to breach his privacy. The majority of them said, no, we're not going to be part of your dog and pony show. Well, let me tell you, the news has had something to say about this mess. Watch this.
Let's have a look at a story about a promiscuous, wayward redhead, and who better than Diane to take us through this one?
OK, so on the Daily Mail, we have the quote, Prince Harry asked his friends and ex-girlfriends to feature in his upcoming autobiography, Spare. Gosh, I wish it was Spare Change or something else. Like
Spare
apparently,
Parts?
Spare Parts.
Spare us the sob story.
I think it could be called Runner-Up.
Oh,
or
yes.
Silver Medal, don't you think?
Always the bridesmaid.
Yeah.
The whiner.
The whiner. So
The
essentially...
Ginger Windsor. Sorry, we're not quite done yet, Diane.
You're not done.
We're-
So essentially, this is back to Harry's hypocrisy, his favourite thing, his favourite cup of tea, in that he only wants privacy on his terms. He asked his ex-girlfriends, Cressida, and I think the other one was called Chelsea, to...
Of course it was.
give him, to talk to his ghostwriter, to kind of sex up...
I mean, he didn't
his
write
book.
it himself.
Well, I mean, he
Shocked.
did, but then he kept on eating the crayons. So they had to, Chelsea and Cressida, he wanted them to spill some tea on him and talk to the ghostwriter. And it's like,
Wears
no,
boxers.
Harry.
He wears boxers.
You can't do this. He's trying to use his own privacy to sell his own privacy at the same time as telling us, don't invade my privacy. No, Harry. I'm sorry, but either you put it all out there, you can't control what people think. They're going to react the way they want to react.
Correct.
And it's got the book apparently has been ping-ponging back between the publishers, the ghostwriter, Harry, ghostwriter, publishers, because it wasn't detailed enough in some places. And they wanted to juice it up a bit. And apparently some of these revelations, even Harry is not going to be comfortable with. But I don't think it's worth 28 quid.
Ooh.
28
No way.
pounds.
They've taken out, but a source said the book is much worse than people think.
Good.
So that's
Well, look,
the quality of the
I'll
writing.
be honest with you. I'm looking forward to the movie of the book starring Paul Scholes.
Yes, you just can't make it up. Unbelievable. No, give me my privacy. Give me my privacy. Hey, guys, go talk to my ghostwriter so that everything you know can be out in the book. Go ahead. Go ahead. And now they're saying excerpts of the book are going to be released in early November to coincide with the release of The Crown. Go figure. Now, you guys, we've all seen what he wrote. This book is not about how the prince I was born, but the man I've become. If the book is about the man you've become and it's got nothing to do with you being a prince, why would you name it Spare? We all know what this book is. But I agree with Carol Malone. When is he gonna stop with the victim narrative? I have never seen, he and his wife, I have never seen two people play victim more than these two have. And now, at the same time that all of this is going on, it's being reported that Harry's actually going to go to Britain to promote this book. Probably because the UK booksellers have already slashed the price to half because people aren't buying it. But the nerve, right around Thanksgiving, Christmas time, this is when you decide to go and promote a book that trashes your family? Yeah, no. Thank you to the Duchess of you-know-what for the difference in these two covers. You know, the guy on the left looks confident. He knows what his life is all about. He's got a good family backing him. And the guy on the right is a whinging, whiny, crybaby who's got nothing to offer the world except word salad and smashing his family. Shocking the difference. All right, moving on. We all heard that Meghan apparently sent a handwritten note to King Charles asking for a one-on-one meeting. Smartly, King Charles said no, because after all, she could have claimed anything was said in there, even if it wasn't, with her lying, who knows? It's being reported that, she really wanted to meet with him and he refused. Very smart. It's being reported that apparently Meghan wanted to clear the air and explain why they did the things that they did. And of course, then I read this. Apparently, they wanted to appeal to Charles for money, or they were going to be forced to go ahead with the book. And Charles was like, get on with it. So, of course, Meghan is just like, let's just go. Harry heard it as a threat they'll be cut off, which of course they probably will be. And it was right after that conversation that it's being reported that Charles made a speech saying that, Harry and Meghan are much loved members of my family across the seas. Yes, I think that pretty much tells you everything you need to know. No titles. Why would you want those children to have titles? You said that the royal family was soul-crushing and terrible. You don't want them to have titles, right? Just move on. All right, here we go. They're saying that Harry and Meghan will be happy to snap up a coronation appearance because they need it for legitimacy. I don't think there's going to be any more taping. I got to be honest. I think Netflix is going to put out what they have. And if it doesn't hit like it's supposed to, that's going to be it for them anyway. So there won't be any more taping. But, I'm sure Harry and Meghan will hire their own photographers. I'm sure they'll still be mic'd. They're still going to be looking for something. But yes, they hate the royal family. They're soul crushing. They had to escape from them. But yet they want to be involved in every royal family big event. And they want their children to have royal titles. Very interesting little, hypocritical parallel there. All right, let's move on to our last story for today. I want to recommend this article to you guys because this article says exactly what I've always said. It's got nothing to do with Meghan's skin color and everything to do with her character. Okay? Narcissists never admit they're at fault. Everybody else is to blame. They'll use any excuse. They can throw anybody under the bus as long as they maintain the delusion that they're perfect in every way. And that's what Meghan Markle does. She thought she should be paid for having her royal duties. She didn't understand why she was expected to continue them, even supposedly when there was a quote unquote fire within earshot of her son, even though he wasn't in any risk. You know what I mean? He wasn't at any risk. Oh, no, it was the cruel and sensitive royal machine. And now she's claiming she's not demanding. That's just the perception because she's an angry black woman. It has nothing to do with the fact that she signed up to be a royal, which involves a life of public service, then realized there was actually work to be done. So she ran off to the United States. And then, she's on a multi-million-dollar podcast and she's trying to be a celebrity. She doesn't get it. People forget that you're famous because we allow you to be famous. And people have seen straight through Meghan. And they don't like her because she's basically an unlikable person. Nobody cares what color you are. It's just like what happened, the article points out, it's just like what happened with James Corden, who's a white man. But he was rude to waiters. So he got called out on social media, and considering the fact that most people have either worked or currently work in retail or the hospitality, they've dealt with people like him. People they don't appreciate being treated like the gum on the bottom of somebody's shoe. So Mr. Corden couldn't pull the race card. They just basically started treating him the way he's been treating other people. So the fact that Meghan thinks it has to do with her skin color more than her attitude is just more proof that she is a rampant narcissist, and she never intended to participate in royal life, which is something we already know already. You guys find this article and read it. It is spot the heck on. All right, you guys, lots of information. Now, first of all, if anybody has an option other than PayPal and Venmo, I would like to know what it is, but I'm not sure. Somebody already said Google. I'm not sure I'm happy with that. But if you guys come up with something, please leave your comment. I would really, really like to know what an alternative to that would be, okay? And of course, comments about all the other information that was in this video. Please double check and make sure you're still subscribed if you've already hit the button. If you haven't hit the button, go ahead. You know you want to. Just go ahead and hit the button. You know you can follow me on Twitter, Getter, Rumble. I have a Patreon account. You can email me. Links to all of those are in the description box below the video. Okay, just click into that description box, and then all you got to do is click on the link, and then it'll take you where you want to go. To those of you who have donated through my coffee fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. I will keep everybody updated on Finn. And as always, you guys, have a great day.